Boys and girls, guess what? Guess what? Every 4 years, people in the United States get to vote for their president. Every 4 years. And we call that time election time. And actually, it's going to be time to elect a president again. So, in November, next month, in about 20 some days, we, American people who are 18 and older, get to vote for president. So in this election, we can decide, we get to vote to decide if we want to keep our current president or if we want to vote for a new president. Okay, but it's a very big time because being president is such an important job, and we get to decide who we want as our president. So because it's such an important year, because elections only happen every 4 years, we're going to be talking about what is an election, okay? So, in your blue folder, in your plastic bag that you got with your supplies, oh, there is a blue folder. I know it looks kind of black under the camera, but it's a blue folder. You're going to open it up, and in that blue folder, you're going to find a packet that looks like this. It says Election Day. Okay, when you find that packet, you're going to put your name on it. I'm going to put my name because this is my packet. You put your name. Okay. Now that you've put your name, we're going to turn to the very first page. Our first page says words to know. So these right here are some important words that we need to know in order to understand the whole election process. Even what is an election? So this is kind of a lot of writing. So this is going to be one of those times where I'm going to say it's okay for mom and dad to help you write, okay? If you need some help from mom and dad to help you write this, or you need to break it up into different days to finish it, I understand because it's a lot of writing for us. But if you're like, I've got this, I'm a big first grader, I'm going to try on my own, then go for it, okay? But let's talk about the words. The first word says election. An election means when people get to vote to choose someone or something. For example, next month we're going to have the presidential election because we're going to get to choose who we want as our president. Okay, so it's when we get to vote, so we will get to vote for who we want as president. Then we have the word vote. Vote. Vote is when each person makes their choice. So each person gets to vote for who they want. Okay, in an election, each person gets to vote for who they want. And they vote on a ballot. A ballot is a piece of paper on which people who are voting enter their choice. So here's my little drawing example of a ballot, and you also have one down here, okay? So on a ballot, when mom or dad go to vote, they get a piece of paper, kind of. Sometimes they're on computers now, and you get to mark who your choices are. And on the ballot, you have the candidates. And the candidates are the people who are running for something. So a person who wants to be chosen for a job, right? So all the people that wanted to be president had to be put on the ballot so that people could vote for them. That's a candidate. And finally, a campaign. Ooh, that word campaign. It kind of sounds like camping. Campaign, trying to do something. So people who want to be president need to campaign to become president. That means they're trying to become president. A lot of people make posters, they make commercials. They're trying to persuade people to vote for them in their campaign. Okay? So again, go ahead and you can have mom and dad help you with this one. Now let's turn the page We're going to look at some words. Turn, turn, turn. So we're here. Turn one page, turn another until we get here. Here we have some more words, but we have pictures for them. Okay, the first one says democracy. We have a government that's a democracy. That means that the people in the United States get to vote for who they want as their leaders. And boys and girls, that's so important because not everybody around the world gets to choose who they want as their leaders. Can you imagine that? We're so lucky that we get to do that. We get to choose. I think that's a really important thing. Um, then we have speech. So the candidates, the people who want to be president, have to make a speech, right? They have to get in front of people and tell them why they would make a good president. And here we have America. So in America, we get to vote for who we want as our leaders. Then we have the White House. That's where the president lives in Washington, D.C. That's all the way on the other side of the United States. Then you have voting booth. So they look a little bit like this. When you go vote, when adults go vote, they get their own private space to vote so that nobody sees who they're voting for. It's all private. And then we talked about ballot, an election. So in an election, people fill out their ballot and they decide who they want as president, right? There would be names here, and you would check off who you would want as your president. And when you're all done filling this out, grown-ups turn in their ballot into a ballot box that looks like this at their voting place. They drop off their paper into a box. That's very private, very, very private. Okay, and then we have president. This is the presidential seal. So the president is the person who is in charge of running our country and keeping it in order. This one's a little bit more complicated. In the United States, there are two parties, not like party. There are two groups of people. There are Republican and Democrats, and they're kind of like, think of them like two teams, right? They're two teams, and usually they are the two teams that are trying to win in an election. So the Republicans usually have somebody running for president, and the Democrats usually have somebody running for president, and then we get to decide on our ballot who we're going to vote for. Are we going to vote Republican or are we going to vote Democrat? And then a voter is a person who goes to make their choice. And we talked about candidate, and a candidate is the person who wants to be chosen for the job. Okay. And you're like, why is there an elephant and a donkey? Well, these animals are chosen to represent the Republican and the Democrat Party. Oh, right, Ms. Cortez. That was a lot of talking. Okay, so we are going to be talking about this election for a couple of weeks. After you're done filling this out, you're going to go to the next video because we're going to read a book about elections. Okay?